I just wanted to show a close-up of the dogs. I used button eyes. These are button polymer anime eyes, and I got them from Pastiche Accessories. I have the link on my blog, www.helenmaycrochet.com. They're custom made. This one is blue with stars, and then these are green with hearts. And then I also got these clips that have a Yorkie dog. They come in pink and blue, and they have little clasps that you can use. And those are also from Pastiche Accessories. Or you can use safety doll eyes like these, which are from 6060 Eyes. What are nice about the button eyes, you can use a slender tapestry needle, and it will fit with yarn in the back loop to sew them in place. I will also show how to make the scarf and the flower. There are going to be two separate video tutorials, one for the puppy dog and then one for the larger dog. These comical eyes I got from 6060 Eyes. I think they're adorable. I really love them. On my blog I put a link where you can also order them in bulk. Here's their little pins. So you can put a little dog pin on their scarf too if you wanted to. And then I also show how to make these bow clips, your own bow clips for your dog. Or you can just purchase your own. You can have fun with the colors too. This is a great project for using up extra yarn. So you can use either just a regular brown color, or you can have fun with color changes. So I show you how to make the color changes as well. And you can put a little clip on the back of the outfit or the body as well. Of course, sometimes I'll make these secret containers. So some of the dogs I made without a container, so I'll show you both methods if you don't want to use a container. But you can see how I have a container that fits perfectly into the body. Now, the scissor fob that I show inside one of these containers has a separate video tutorial where I show you how to make that. You can have fun and put anything into the secret compartment. The little puppy dogs also have a secret compartment. And you can see how I put little crochet hooks into this one. But you can put pens, pencils, and other items into the secret container. For this crochet project, you're going to need your 3.75mm crochet hook. You're also going to need your tapestry needle or darning needle and a pair of scissors. You're also going to need your favorite safety doll eyes. These are 15 millimeter. You can see how they have a little bit of a design on the outer edge in the blue. You also may like these polymer clay button eyes. I got these eyes by Pastiche Accessories. I have the link on my blog at www.helenmaycrochet.com. Just go to the blog post Handmade Businesses. Again, this is Pastiche Accessories. You can see the cute little anime eyes. There's a little star on this one and it's blue. Your tapestry needle, you just use a slender tapestry needle and you could sew it in place with yarn, and they turned out really cute. The other style that she made for me are the ones with the little hearts. So these are green with little hearts. And again, these are the anime polymer clay button eyes that you can sew on with yarn with your tapestry needle. You just need a slender tapestry needle if you're using this style. The other optional thing you can do is use a container. So I used my Prunes Sunsweet Ones container. It's a nice container that fits perfectly in the body of these puppy dogs. If you don't like the container, I'll also show you how you can just stuff the body, and then I'll show you how to close it. The yarn that I used is a tannish brown colored yarn. You could use any medium 4 100% acrylic yarn that you want, a Red Heart equivalent yarn, or Crafter's Secret. And you're also going to need a medium 4 100% acrylic black yarn too. You can make the body all one color, or you can have fun with color changes. So this one you can see how I used different blue and white colors for this body. On video tutorial, I'm going to be using some of my leftover pink yarns. Now we're going to start with the head, and we're going to start with the magic circle. So just drape your brown colored yarn over your 4 fingers. Use your thumb to stabilize. And then wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers and hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Then just take your crochet hook, go under those 2 loops around the middle fingers, bring up a loop, and then yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through that loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So you're going to bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both loops for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you're going to take your 4-finger and your thumb, and you're going to go to the base of the 6 single crochet. You see how I'm holding my crochet hook? You have these 2 loops on the opposite side. You're going to pull on one of them. If it doesn't close, let go and pull on the other one, but this one's closing, so just gently close it. Then take that loose yarn end and pull on that. And don't worry if you don't get it closed completely at this point, because we can close it more later. Then just turn your work so that you're going to be working into your first stitch. Take your crochet hook, go into that first stitch in the circle, and then you're going to place 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total stitch count of 12. So 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a stitch count of 12, and then come back Now that you have a stitch count of 12 around the circle, you can take and turn your work over. If you need to close the center of your magic circle, just turn the work over and just pull gently on the center, and that closes up the center of your magic circle. Now you're going to need a yarn marker. I'm just using one of my scraps of yarn, and just place it right where you left off we're going to start our increase rounds. We're going to be increasing to 1 single crochet into 4 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 5th stitch. And we're going to be working in chronological order. So for the first increase round, which is going to increase the number of stitches in the circle, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the first stitch and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So 1 single crochet into the first stitch and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. So go ahead, repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So now you should have 18 total stitches in the round. I'm not going to give the stitch count now for each round because all you have to do is add 6 stitches and you have your stitch count for the round. So our last round was 12 stitches. You add 6 to get 18 stitches. So if you add 6 again, you'll have 24 stitches when you complete your next round. So now go ahead and move your yarn marker up for our next round. And for this round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So that's 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch, repeating that pattern all the way around. Then for the next increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 3 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 4th stitch and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then for the last increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 4 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 5th stitch and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now you should have a total of 36 stitches in the round. Go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and now you're just going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So only 1 single crochet into each stitch. Now when you reach your yarn marker, you're just going to continue crocheting 1 single crochet in every stitch, and your yarn marker is going to help you keep track of the rounds. So you can see that I've completed 1 round. You need to complete 12 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch and then come back. Now after you finish your 12 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, you're going to go ahead and just leave a little bit of a loop on the back, and we're going to place the safety doll eyes on the front of the dog's head. So using the landmark, magic circle as a landmark on top of the head, count down 7 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just below the 7th round, the top of your safety eye should touch the top of the bottom of that row or round. And then you want approximately 4 stitches between the eyes. Once you're happy with the eye placement, go ahead and turn it inside out so you can place the metal latch. Once you place the metal latch, the eyes will be secure and you're not going to be able to move them. So make sure that before you attach the latches that you have the eyes where you want them. And again, if you decide to use the polymer clay button eyes, it's the same thing. The top of the eyes just touch the 7th round, and there's about 4 stitches between the eyes. And then you just use your slender tapestry needle to sew them in place with your yarn. I went through the buttonhole twice. After you place your safety doll eyes or sew your eyes on, go ahead and turn your work back so that you go right where you left off. And we're going to make decrease rounds now. So go ahead and take and move your yarn marker up to where you left off. Now you're going to make one single crochet into 4 stitches. Then you're going to make your decrease stitch or single crochet 2 stitches together. And what this does is it decreases the number of stitches in the round. So you're going to take your crochet hook, you're going to go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all 3 for a decrease stitch or single crochet 2 stitches together. So go ahead and repeat this pattern, 1 single crochet into 4 stitches and then single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around back to the yarn marker. So now you should have a total of 30 stitches in the round. Then go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and we're only going to make 2 more decrease rounds. We're not going to completely close the head. So now you're going to make 1 single crochet into 3 stitches, and then single crochet 2 stitches together. And then you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. And then for the last decrease round, go ahead and move your yarn marker up and then just make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then make your decrease stitch and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now you should have a total of 18 stitches in the round. Then you can take and remove your yarn marker, and we're going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch over. So take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch over, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the head onto the body. So for now, you're going to set the head aside. We're going to make the snout. So for the snout, you're going to start it the same way. We're going to make the magic circle. And we're going to place 6 single crochet into the magic circle, but first you're going to make the slip knot. And then we're going to make the 6 single crochet. So you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle, just like we did before. And then you're going to take and hold the base of the 6 single crochet. You're going to pull on one of the loops, and again, if it doesn't close, let go and pull on the other one, but this one's closing. Then you take that loose yarn end and pull on that. And then turn your work. And again, you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches in the round. And then come back. So now you have 12 stitches in the round. You can take and turn your work and pull on that loose yarn end to close the center of the magic circle. And this time for the snout, you're only going to make 2 increase rounds. You take your yarn marker, place it right where you left off, and for the first increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the first stitch and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. And then for the last increase round, 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the third stitch, repeating that pattern all the way around. So now you should have a total of 24 stitches in the round. Then go ahead and take and move your yarn marker up. And now you're only going to make one single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 5 rounds, and then come back. So one single crochet in every stitch for 5 rounds. After you finish 5 rounds of one single crochet in every stitch, go ahead and move the yarn marker up for an increase round. So for this increase round, you're going to make one single crochet into 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 4th stitch. Then repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker. Then you should have a total of 30 stitches in the round. Then go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and you're going to make one single crochet into every stitch around for a total of 2 rounds. So 2 rounds of one single crochet in every stitch around. So after you finish your 2 rounds of one single crochet in every stitch, go ahead and remove your yarn marker, and you're going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch over. And then you're going to finish off. So just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the snout onto the head. So now go ahead and set the snout aside because we're going to make the nose before we sew it on the head. Now you're going to take your black yarn and you're going to take and fold it over on itself to form a loop. Take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. You're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through the loop for a slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down and cinch the loop around your crochet hook. Then you're going to make a chain. We're going to make a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to make a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So take your crochet hook, go into the second chain from the hook, bring up a loop, and then you're going to make one single crochet into every stitch back across, except for the last stitch. In the last stitch, you're going to make 3 single crochet into the same stitch. So go into that same stitch, bring up a loop, make your single crochet. That's my first one. So I'm going to go back in the same stitch, and as I'm making my single crochet stitches, I'm turning my work so that I'm going to work on the opposite side. So I need one more single crochet on the end stitch. I'm going behind my loose yarn end, and I've completed 3 single crochet into that last stitch. Now I'm on the opposite side, and I'm going to go into the next stitch over, go behind the loose yarn end, bring up a loop, make a single crochet, and then I'm going to make a single crochet into the next stitch, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut my loose yarn end. And remove it. Then in the last stitch, I'm going to make 3 single crochet into the same stitch. Then I'm going to take my yarn marker, place it right where I left off, and then you're going to make a single crochet into the next stitch, and you're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch around. So only 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So I have approximately 11 stitches in the round, and I finished one round of one single crochet in every stitch. I'm going to make one more round of one single crochet in every stitch to complete 2 total rounds. Then you can take and remove the yarn marker and then just make a slip stitch into the next stitch over, and then go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the nose onto the snout. Now before you sew this nose on the snout, we're going to stuff it, but don't stuff it with craft stuffing. You're going to stuff it with a little bit of your black yarn. So just take a little bit of black yarn, and we're going to use the black yarn as stuffing. And the reason why I do that is so that the white stuffing doesn't show through the holes in the center. So now the nose is ready to be sewn onto the snout. So now you're going to get your tapestry needle and put it onto the long end that you left for sewing for the nose. And then you're going to take your snout, and I usually put where we finish off in the back of the snout. And then use the magic circle as a landmark, and then place the nose one round up. And make sure that it's centered. So the halfway portion of the nose should be lined up right with the magic circle. And then once you have it lined up, then you can take, just going to bring it over, then you can take and sew it in place. So you just take your tapestry needle and go through the snout and then back up the base of the nose. And then you're just going to sew all around the base of the nose, securing it in place. Then, after you've sewn the nose in place, you're going to embroider the little smile. So I ended right underneath the center of the nose. Then I'm going to go straight down to the bottom of the magic circle and then go back in. And then I'm going to come up 2 rows, actually counting the magic circle, 1 round out and about a stitch up to make the smile, and then go back into the place that you went down into the snout to form the one side of the smile. And then the other side of the smile is made the same way. So you want to make sure that it's the same on both sides. And then just tie a knot on the inside. At this point you can also put eyelashes if you want. So that's optional. You would just use your black yarn and just go up and come out right at the center. Actually, I'm going to go towards the top of the safety eye. Make sure you leave enough of a loose yarn end on the inside for burying or tying a knot in the inside of the head. And then just go make your eyelashes. So I'm going up 2 rounds and then going back down towards the inside. And then I'm going to come back up at the point where I went in. And then I'm going to make the center lash. And then I'm going to make the last lash by going right where I went in initially. So you can see how I have the 2 lashes, and then I'm going to make the 3rd lash and then tie a knot on the inside. So for the 3rd lash, I'm just going to go straight out. And then just make sure you like the way the lash looks. And then you just need to make the lash the exact same way on the other side. This is how my eyelashes look when I'm finished. Now I'm ready to sew the snout in place. Go ahead and place the craft stuffing into the snout. Then you're going to take your tapestry needle and put it onto the long end that you left for sewing, or the same colored yarn. And then you're going to line up the snout. Make sure that the nose is centered between the eyes and straight. Then you can take the bottom of the snout and move it up 3 rounds. So again, make sure that the nose stays centered between the eyes, and then the bottom of the snout you want centered 3 rounds up from the bottom. Then you're going to take and sew the bottom of the snout only. So again, you want to make sure that your nose is still centered between the eyes. And then take your tapestry needle and you're going to sew the bottom portion of the snout only. So you just go in and out around the base of the snout, and you're only sewing the bottom portion of the snout, securing it 3 rounds up from the bottom opening of the head or neck. So you just take and sew this bottom portion so that it doesn't move and it's secured. So I'm going to make one more stitch . Then go ahead and finish on the inside. Then you're going to take the snout and you're going to put the stuffing into the snout and then line up the top portion of the snout. So make sure that the nose is centered between the eyes and facing straight. And then once you have it positioned, you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're going to come up through the top portion of the snout. And then you're just going to take and sew the top portion of the snout in place, just going in and out with your tapestry needle and securing the top portion. And then after you sew the top portion, you can sew the sides in place, so the sides of the snouts. And then just make sure that when you sew the sides of the snout that they look the same on both sides. And then this is what my snout looks like after sewing it in place. Then you're ready to make the ears. So the ears are similar to the snout. So this is one of the ears. I'm going to make the other ear with you. on video tutorial. You're going to need 2 ears. So again, you're going to start with the magic circle. I'm going to go ahead and start with you to get you started. So we're going to make our slip knot. And then you're going to need 6 single crochet into the magic circle, just like we've done before. Then we're going to close up the magic circle. And then just turn your work. So again, we've done this before. Because there's some beginners, I just want to go ahead and show it all again. Now, in the first stitch in the circle, just like with the snout, you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches in the round. So we're going to make 2 increase rounds now, just like with the snout. So for the first increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 1 stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch, and then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then for the last increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the third stitch. Repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then just move the yarn marker up, and you're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch around. You should have 24 stitches in the round. And for the ears, you're going to be making 10 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So 10 rounds. After you finish your 10 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, go ahead and remove your yarn marker, and then you're going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch over, and then you're going to go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the ear on the dog. And again, you're going to need 2 ears. Now after you have both of your ears, go ahead and take your tapestry needle, and you're going to fold the ear so that your loose yarn end is on the edge of the ear. And then you're just going to take and sew the 2 edges together. So just take and sew back and forth, sewing the 2 flaps of the ear together before you sew them onto the dogs. Then, after you've sewn the flaps together, you're going to take and sew the ear onto the dog. So, for mine, I use the landmark, the magic circle as a landmark, and I count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds, and just below the 5th round is where I'm going to line up my ear. So if you have eyelashes, you're going to go right up to the eyelash and then sew it in place. If you don't have eyelashes, then I went approximately 2 to 3 stitches back from the safety eyes or the eyes. Then you can take and sew the ear in place, and then I tried to make the ear follow the bottom of the 5th round as I sewed it in place. So I just went in and out, securing the ear, and I only sewed along the top of the ears, and then just let the bottom curve of the ear flap up and down. And then the other ear is sewn on the exact same way. So you can see how the ears look in the front, and then in the back you can see how the ears meet, so make sure that they are on the same level. Then you can take and just tie a knot. And then I like to go through twice to tie a knot. Then you can take and bury your loose yarn end, and I just went through the flap of the top of the ear to kind of bury my loose yarn end. And then I like to go back through again. Then you can take and cut your loose yarn end. Now you can set the head aside because we're going to make the body. So for the body, I started with my brown colored yarn. And again, you're going to start with the magic circle. You're going to start with your slip knot. And then you're going to place 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So we've done this before. For beginners, I'm going to go ahead and just start it for you. Then go ahead and close the 6 single crochet into a circle. And again, you're going to start with 2 single crochet into every stitch around for a total of 12 stitches in the round. So now, just like the head, you're going to be making your increase rounds. We're going to be increasing to 1 single crochet into 4 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 5th stitch, and we're going to go in chronological order. So the first increase round is going to be 1 single crochet into the 1st stitch and then 2 single crochet into the 2nd stitch, and you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. For the next increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch and repeat that pattern all the way around. For the next increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 3 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 4th stitch and repeat that pattern all the way around. And then the last increase round is 1 single crochet into 4 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the 5th stitch, repeating that pattern all the way around. Now you should have 36 stitches in the round. Then you're going to take and move the yarn marker up, and now we're going to maintain the stitch count for 4 rounds. So you're only going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 4 rounds, and then come back. Now I just finished the 4 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch. Now at this point you can decide if you want to make your color changes or if you just want to maintain the same color for the body. So here's an example of one of the dogs where I used the same color for the body. I made this 24 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch. If you like the color changes and the length of this body, then I made a total of 33 rounds, and then I switched colors every 5 rounds, and then the last 4 rounds I made with the brown color. So I mean, you can have fun and make the body however you want, but if you're using the container, make sure that the container fits the body. So you can see that the 33 rounds that I made fits this container perfectly. So to change colors, I always change colors at where I reach the yarn marker. That way the color change seam will be on the bottom of the body. But just take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch over and bring up a loop so that you have 2 loops on your hook. Then you get the first color that you want. And for mine, I'm using Pretty in Pink by Red Heart yarn. It's a medium 4, 100% acrylic yarn. And then I'm just going to bring up a loop, go ahead and chain 1, and then just turn your work and cut the previous color and tie a knot. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch around for 5 rounds, and then you can change colors again. Just make sure that you maintain the stitch count. The stitch count should be 36. So make sure that you're not adding or decreasing stitches when you change colors. So if you're a beginner, I would recommend counting the stitches to make sure that you're maintaining a 36 stitch count. That way you'll end up with a tube for the body and your body won't be crooked. So you can see how I finished the 5 rounds with my new color, and you can see the slight step off here from where I changed colors. So what I like to do is change colors before that seam. So then I just take and bring up a loop and then bring in my new color, and then I just bring up a loop with the new color and then chain 1. Then you can take and cut your previous color and then just tie a knot with your new color. And my new color is just a light pink, a pastel pink color. Then you just continue making 1 single crochet in every stitch around for another 5 rounds until you get the length that you want. And again, if you're using a container, or even if you're not using container, if you like the longer length, I made 33 rounds. And then of course I ended the last 4 rounds with my brown color. So then once you've finished the length that you want for your body, and you can see how I maintained the seam, the color change seam, in a straight line, which will be on the bottom of the body. Then there's 2 options. You can make a slip stitch into the next stitch over. So I'm just going to show you. You just go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through both loops, and then just finish off. Just yarn over and pull the yarn through just to leave a loose yarn end for burying into your work. So I'm not going to do that for this one, because I'm going to show you how to close it in case you don't want to use the container. So I'm going to show you how to close it first, and then I'll come back and show you how to make the back portion for those of you that want to use a container. So now you can go ahead and use the craft stuffing if you're going to be closing up the body, and you can add more craft stuffing as you close. And then just take and move your yarn marker up to where you left off for your first decrease round. For the first decrease round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the first 4 stitches. And then you're going to make your decrease stitch. You're going to go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through all 3 for a decrease stitch. So go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then for the next decrease round is 1 single crochet into 3 stitches, and then single crochet 2 stitches together. And then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then you can add more craft stuffing if you need to. And then for the next round is 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then a decrease stitch, or single crochet 2 stitches together. And you can see how it's closing more and more. For the next round is 1 single crochet into 1 stitch, and then your single crochet 2 stitches together. Then you can take and just remove your yarn marker, and now you're just going to make decrease stitches or single crochet 2 stitches together until you're almost closed, and then you're just going to slip stitch the rest closed. So I'm still making single crochet 2 stitches together. I'll make 1 more, and then I'm just going to slip stitch it closed. So I'm going to skip one, go into the next stitch over, yarn over, and then pull the yarn through both loops for a slip stitch. And then I'm just going to take and slip stitch until it is completely closed, and then I'll go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. Then just take your tapestry needle and put it on the loose yarn end and go right in where you finished off and come out anywhere. And then just trim the loose yarn end, and then you just close the back side of the dog. Now I'm going to show you how to make the alternate form for the back of the body if you're using a container. I went ahead and buried all of my loose yarn ends on the inside, and then I have the right side facing me. I'm going to set this aside for now. So now you're just going to get the same color brown that you used for your body, and you're going to start it the same way as you did for the body. So I'm just going to start it with you again. So you're going to start with your magic circle, and then you're going to place 6 single crochet into the magic circle after you make your slip knot. So I made my slip knot, then I'm going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. And then you're going to close it just like you did before. And then you're just going to turn your work so that you work into the first stitch and make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches in the round, and then come back. Then you're going to be increasing to 1 single crochet into 4 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 5th stitch, and you're going to go in chronological order. So the first increase round is going to be 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the 2nd stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. For the next increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch, then 1 single crochet into 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 4th stitch. And then the last increase round is 1 single crochet into 4 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 5th stitch. Then you should have 36 stitches in the round, and now you're only going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 4 rounds, and then come back. After you finish your 4 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, go ahead and move the yarn marker up, and then you're just going to make 1 single crochet into the next 15 stitches. After you make 1 single crochet into 15 stitches, then you're going to make a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. And you're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and make a single crochet into the 4th stitch. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into each of the remaining stitches back to the yarn marker. Then you're going to take and move the yarn marker up, and you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch up to your chain 3 that you made in the previous round. Then just make 3 single crochet into that chain 3 space that you made from the previous round. So just go right into that space and make 3 single crochet, and that just strengthens the chain 3 that you made. And this is where the tail is going to go through, that little hole that you created. Then just finish making 1 single crochet into each of the remaining stitches back to the yarn marker. Then you can remove the yarn marker and then just make a slip stitch into the next stitch over. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew this back cover to the body. Then just take your tapestry needle and put it onto the loose yarn end on the wrong side of the cover and just bury it into the work. And then just trim the loose yarn end. And now this back cover is ready to be sewn onto the body. Make sure that the opening where the tail is going to go through faces the top of the body. So here I have the body and I have the color change seam on the bottom. So I'm going to line up the bottom of my cover with the bottom of the body. And I'm going to get my tapestry needle and put it onto the long end that I left for sewing. And I'm just going to line up the back container with the bottom of the body, and make sure that your tail loop will go towards the top of the body. Then just take and sew the bottom only, the bottom two edges of the back container and the body. And I'm just sewing a little bit, about, let me see how many. Here's my third stitch, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So whatever amount you want for the opening is how much you'll leave open. For me, about 7 stitches to one side, and then I'm going to go back along the area that I sewed, back to where I started. And then sew stitches along this side. Until it's equal. And you can double check it too and just kind of see what the opening is looking like. So I need probably about 3 more stitches. So it's about 7 stitches on both sides that I sewed. And then when you're happy with the opening and the amount that you sewed on the bottom, then you can take and just tie a knot. And I tied my knot on the inside, so I'm going to bring it towards the inside. So I have it on the wrong side, and then I'm going to take and tie a knot. I'm going to go through it twice. Then I'm going to take and bury my loose yarn end along the inside or the wrong side of the body. And then I'm just going to take and trim my loose yarn end. And then I have the back side sewn on. And then you can take your container and you can place it right into the body. And now I have my back cover. And then the rest of the dog is made the same way. So I'll show you how I make the tail and how I sew the head on. But that's how you make the back cover for the body. So now you can take the head and stuff it with craft stuffing. And then take the body and find the front, the portion that you want for the front of the body. And then you're going to line up the head onto the front of the body and make sure that the nose is facing forward. And then once you have it lined up, then you're going to take your tapestry needle. You're going to find the back. And again, you want to make sure that the nose is facing forward. And then you can take and sew the head to the body. And you're just going to go in and out, sewing all around the base of the head. The first time around the base of the head, you're just securing the head to the body. So don't worry if you're skipping stitches as you sew, because you can always make you can sew multiple times around the head. The only thing you want to make sure is that the nose is facing forward as you're sewing, and then you just go in and out with your tapestry needle and just sew the head to the body. When I'm finished making my rounds around the head and securing it in place, I tie my knot in the back of the head. And then I just take and go up where I tied my knot and into the back of the head. You can come out anywhere. And then just bury the loose yarn end. And this is what my head looks like after I've sewn it on. Now you can set the dog aside. I'm going to show you how to make the feet and the tail. So for the feet, you're going to start the same way with a magic circle, and you're going to make your slip knot, and then 6 single crochet into the magic circle. And then you just close it up. Then you're just going to turn your work and make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches in the round, just like we've done before. And then we're going to make 2 increase rounds. So the first increase round is 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch, and then repeat that pattern all the way around. Then for the last increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the third stitch, and repeat that pattern all the way around. Now you should have 24 stitches in the round. Go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around for only 1 round. So only 1 round of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. Now we're going to make the front of the paw. So you're going to take and move the yarn marker up, and you're going to make 7 single crochet 2 stitches together. So go into the first stitch, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch and bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, go through all 3 for 1 single crochet 2 stitches together. So we're going to do that 6 more times for a total of 7. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into each of the remaining stitches back to the yarn marker. So now you should have a total of 17 stitches in the round. Go ahead and move the yarn marker up, and now you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch for 3 rounds. So 3 rounds of 1 single crochet into every stitch around. After you finish 3 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, go ahead and make a slip stitch into the next stitch over, and then go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the paw onto the dog. Now you just need 4 of these. So now you're going to take one of the paws and put some craft stuffing into the paw. Make sure that the front portion of the paw is facing forward, and then take your tapestry needle and put it onto the long end that you left for sewing, or use the same colored yarn. And then you're going to take the bottom of the dog. So here you can see there's the front, and then I have the paw facing forward, and then I lined mine up towards the front. So I use my color change to line up the paw. If you don't have that, then you can just, from the front of the dog 4 rounds back, you can place your paw, and you want to make sure that you line up the center of the body with the side of the paw. That way both paws will fit on the bottom of the dog. Then you can take your tapestry needle and just sew all along the base of the paw. And again, just like when you were sewing the head, you can make more than one round when you're sewing. So if you skip a stitch, that's okay, because you can always come back around. And then I just end in the back of the paw and then tie a knot and bury the loose yarn in, just like I did for the head. So you can see how I spaced the front paws, and sometimes I'll space them a little closer together, so it's just a preference. And I'm just going to show you a close-up of one of them that I did. And then here is the other one. So now I'm going to place the back legs on the same way. And this is what my legs look like after I get them sewn on. So you can see how I tried to line up the inner sides of the legs so that they're equal. Now I'm going to show you how to make her tail. So again, for the tail, you're going to start with the magic circle. You're going to start with your slip knot, and then you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. We've done this before. Then this time we're not going to place 2 single crochet into every stitch around. So go ahead and get your yarn marker. Place it right where you left off. And for this round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 1 stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. So it's still an increase round. We're increasing the number of stitches in this circle, but this time we're not making 2 single crochet into every stitch around. This time we're making 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And then you're just repeating that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker. So I have 9 total stitches in the round. Go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and now you're only going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch around until you have the length that you want for your tail. For mine, I made 8 to 9 rounds, 8 or 9 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So 1 single crochet in every stitch around for 8 or 9 rounds, depending on the length that you want for your tail. So after you finish your 8 or 9 rounds, for mine I made 9 rounds, then go ahead and make a slip stitch into the next stitch over, and then finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the tail on the dog. I usually put a little bit of craft stuffing into the tail. Then just line up the tail where you want it on the dog. So I just put mine, if I made color changes, I lined it up right where the color change was. But if you have a container, then you want to make sure that you line up the tail so that the hole that you made for the tail will go over the tail and close the back of the dog, covering the container. And then you just sew all around the base of the tail and just secure it in place. See if I can get in there. So for my container dog, I ended up sewing the tail right along the edge. That way I can take the little hole that I made for the tail and bring the tail through. And then the back cover fits nicely along the back. And then the tail holds the back cover in place. I used my fuchsia sparkle for the flower. So to make the flower, I just took whatever color yarn that you want for the flower, and then I just folded it over on itself to form a loop. Take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. Then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for your slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down and bring the loop around your crochet hook. Go ahead and make a chain of 5. After you make your chain of 5, you're going to make a slip stitch into that first chain that you made. So go into that first chain that you made, and then you're going to make a slip stitch to make it into a ring. So you just yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to go into the center of the circle with your crochet hook. You're going to bring up a loop and then make a single crochet and then chain 3. And then you're going to make another single crochet into the center of the circle, and then you just made your first chain 3 loop, and we're going to make a total of 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, chain 3, single crochet into the center for your second chain 3 loop, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the center of the circle for your third, chain 3 loop. You can scoot them over too. Then chain 3, single crochet into the center of the circle for your fourth, chain 3, and then single crochet into the center of the circle for your fifth. Then you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into that first single crochet that you made. Then you're going to make a single crochet into the first chain 3 loop that you made. So go into that chain 3 loop and bring up a loop and then make a single crochet. Then you're going to make a half double crochet, yarn over, go into that same chain 3 loop, bring up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all 3 for a half double crochet. Then you're going to make a double crochet in that same chain 3 loop, yarn over, go into that same chain 3 loop, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. Then you're going to make another half double crochet in the same chain 3 loop, yarn over, go into the same chain 3 loop, bring up a loop, Yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all 3 for a half double crochet. Then you're going to make a single crochet into the same chain 3 loop. Then you're going to go into the next chain 3 loop over, and you're going to make a single crochet into that one. And you're going to complete the same petal. So this first petal we completed. We're going to make one more petal. So I made a single crochet. Now I'm going to make a half double crochet, yarn over, go into the same chain 3 loop, bring up a loop, make a half double crochet, and then you're going to make a double crochet, and then you're going to make a half double crochet, and then you're going to make a single crochet, and then you finished your second petal. I'm going to make one more petal with you in the next chain 3 loop. So in the next chain 3 loop, you're going to make a single crochet, a half double crochet, a double crochet, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. And then you completed your third petal. So go ahead, finish making your petals in each of the chain 3 loops, and then come back. Now when you finish your last petal, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for each of the chain 3 loops. Then you're going to make a slip stitch into that first single crochet that you made in the next petal. Just yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. Then go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through for sewing the flower. Now this part is optional. If you want, you can put a bead into the center of your flower. So I have just these pearls that have a little hole in them. And I also have my little bead hook. So I have the link for this if you want to get one for yourself on my blog, www.helenmaycrochet.com. This little hook will go right through the bead hole, and then you can take and grab your yarn. So here I'm just going to grab the yarn that I left the long end for sewing. I'm going to take and hook it, and it has a little clasp that comes down onto the yarn to hold it, and then you just push your bead right onto the yarn. It works great. I love it. Then you just take and bring, well, first let me just take this off. I'm going to do that again because I want to bring this yarn over first before I hook the bead on. So I'm going to take the yarn and put it onto my tapestry needle, and you can see where I finished off on the petal. Well, I want to bring it back towards the center. So I'm going to bring it up towards the center, and then I'm going to place the bead. So now I'm going to take, again you'll get to see me put the bead onto the yarn. So here you can see I have a little clasp that I'm going to push back, and then just put the little hook right through the bead, and then I can take my yarn and then hook it, and you can put that clasp back, and then just push the bead right onto the yarn. It makes it really simple. Then you can take and push the bead to the center of the flower, and then you can just take your tapestry needle and finish sewing the bead on by just sewing around the flower. And then you have a little bead in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and put this onto my dog. So when I sew the flower onto the dog, I'm just going to sew around the bead and leave the flaps, the petals of the flower loose. And this is what my flower looks like after I sewed it in place. For the scarf, you can use whatever color that you want. I'm going to use my matching fuchsia sparkle. So I'm going to take and fold the yarn over on itself to form a loop. And then hold the base of the loop with my middle finger and thumb. Then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for a slip knot. Then just cinch the loop around the crochet hook. Then you're going to make a chain of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you're going to hold that 8th stitch with your middle finger and thumb, and then make a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then make a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook or the stitch that you're holding. Go ahead and yarn over, go into that 4th chain from the hook, bring up a loop, and then make your double crochet. And then you're going to make 1 double crochet in every stitch back across. So yarn over, go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, and then complete a double crochet. And you're going to make 1 double crochet in every stitch back across. Then you should have a stitch count of 9. Go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3 for the 2nd row. Then turn your work, and then just make a double crochet into the next stitch over, and then just make 1 double crochet in every stitch across. And when you finish, you should still have a stitch count of 9. Then, after you double check that you have a stitch count of 9, go ahead and make a chain of 3, turn your work, and then make a double crochet into the next stitch and every stitch back across. And for each row, you should still maintain a stitch count of 9, and you just keep repeating this until you have the length that you would like for your scarf. When you come back, I'll show you what my length was. So I made 22 rows for mine. Then I just made a finished off, and just enough to bury the loose yarn into my work. Then I just took the loose yarn end, and then I just weaved it through one of the scarf ends, and then just trimmed it. Then I just took the scarf and folded it lengthwise, and then put it around the dog, and then just tied a knot. Not a knot, but just tied it once. And then I just let the ends of the scarf hang. So if you want it a little bit longer, then you would just increase the number of rows.